What's going on YouTube? This is Amnesia, and for this video we are going to be doing an episode of the Crunchyroll Reviews series. We haven't done one of these in about a week. This one we are doing is we're going to be covering the entire Freeze series. This one's going to be doing Iwatobi Swim Club and Eternal Summer, the one we actually just finished. Now, here's the thing you have to know about me. When I watch a series which has been hyped up and popularized by a fandom, I do my best to go in with an open mind. And I say that because a lot of times series or shows that were given to me to watch, somebody goes, "You need to watch this." I'm like, okay, well, to be truthful, it hasn't happened in a while. Okay, this one was kind of one of those where I kind of went, okay, and like, when season 2 was going on, Eternal Summer, I was really careful because there was a lot of stuff going on within the fandom with their ship wars, as they call it, or we'll call them pairings, because I'm old school. So, what did I go in with? I went in wanting to see what the big deal with the show was, and not really focus on a lot of the crap that the fandom was going and focusing on. Because I didn't want to one-dimensionalize the show. And I feel like this review is going to do the best to really go over everything. Story is depending on the season that you're talking about. If we're talking about season 1, which we've already done, you're talking about the formation of the club and how they do at the regionals, or to get to the regional tournament. But we're also talking about an interesting group of characters, because you have Rin Matsuoka, who actually goes to Samzuka. You have Haruka Nanes, Makoto Takanaba, Rei Ryugazaki, and Nagisa Hazuki. Then you have Go Matsuoka. Now, here's the thing. Go is an interesting character because, okay, the best way I can describe her. If you've ever seen Kuroko's Basketball, right, you have a female manager or coach, okay? For Seiren, Coach Aida, Riko Aida, she's the coach. Moi Moi, I forget what her full name is, Satsuki, I believe. She's the manager for Toro. Yosen has a female coach. Do you get what I'm saying? But the thing of it is they're not sitting there to troll male viewers. Because if you understand the purpose of the show, that's not it. The purpose is to show you a group of men, a group of young men, trying to beat the Generation of Miracles. Now, the reason I bring that up is because when you look at Go Matsuoka, right, you believe she knows something about swimming because, well, her brother is a world-class swimmer. Ren, their brother and sister, just go to different schools. The thing of it is you find out two things. You find out during season 2 she can't swim, which kind of makes you wonder why the fuck is she the manager of a swim club. Look, legitimately, because like everybody that I mentioned from say Kuroko's Baseball, they have some kind of background that's related to basketball. The one has a father, so she grew up around it. And she could probably actually, play. The one is more analytical. Maybe she doesn't play, but she was able to really analyze things and break it down. The reason I don't jump down Moe's throat is because, again, she wasn't used to troll the male viewers. The coach for Yeltsin, whose name sadly escapes me, I'm going to have to look it up for you. She was good. She was a strict son of a bitch, but she was good. Go had this really weird fixation with muscles to the point where it got like obnoxious, legitimately, wholeheartedly obnoxious. Now, does that take away from the entire story? No. But here was my thing. If I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to watch, it's 25 episodes total, 12 for the first season, 13 for the second. If I'm going to watch 25 episodes, you can't beat something over my head to the point where I'm wanting to throttle you. Okay? The other thing was, in season 1, they dealt a lot with the actual swimming aspect. Now they do in season 2, but see, in season 2 there's also a bunch of melodramatic bullshit that goes on through the course of the series. Like in episode 3 was an interesting one, because that wasn't so much melodramatic. Episode 5 more or less was. Episode 3 of season 2, Ray is, scurrying off to go do some extra errands. So the swim club's like, oh my god, does he have a girlfriend? And the answer's like, no. Okay. First off, I don't think I think he's more athletics and studies first, that a girlfriend wouldn't even fit into his life, to be honest. But turns out, when it's confirmed, he doesn't have a love interest, fine, and everything's going on. But then eventually they go and spy on him to find out that here he was going to Samzuka to be taught by learning every one of the strokes, because his chief one is the butterfly. But he wanted to learn all of them. So he went to one of the better teachers, realistically, in Ren, who taught him all of them. The backstroke, the breaststroke, the butterfly, and the freestyle. He taught them all of them. And they spied on him. Now, why would, if I'm friends with somebody, wouldn't I trust him? Wouldn't I trust him if, because realistically, the things he was learning was going to be for the benefit of the team. And there was so much other stuff that was going on. Like, there was a story with Sosuke, who you meet in episode 2 or 3, I want to say. And you meet him, and you find out that, he used to go to school with Haruka. And they apparently had a history. And you find out other interesting little tidbits. Like, for example, Captain Mikoshiba has a brother who's very good at the backstroke. His name is Momotaro, whose nickname is a sea otter, and he's really good at the stroke. He's just like a fucking missile, to be honest. What I came to find... Okay, in Season 1 I was rooting openly for Iwatobi because they were just starting as a swim club and other things. But when I got to Season 2, what I found, the way the story was being wrote, I wanted to root for Samzuka more than I did the Iwatobi Swim Club. Partially, part of the reason was because of Go, and part of the other reason was because of Nagisa. That's just a fact. I couldn't tolerate those characters. There was more people on Samzuka's team, and I know I'm not probably pronouncing that right, that I could look at and I go, I like you. I like your story. I respect you. And I was saying that about Rin. I was saying that about Natori. I was saying that about Momotaro, for God's sakes. And even Sasuke, who was going with one good shoulder in the tournament. It was one of those things that when you see that story play out, when you see the story with Rin play out, when you see the story in many respects with Natori and Momotaro play out, it was a beautiful thing. And there were times, I'm almost crying now, that there were times when I openly was crying, openly weeping because their story actually connected with me better than the story of the Iwatobi Swim Club. That's not what you're supposed to do, though. You're not supposed to give me a better story for the rival than the main characters, quote unquote. You're not supposed to be generating sympathy for the villain, which, if you want to look at them as the villain, they were. And that's what they did, and they were doing it so well that I found myself at times, hell, when I got to the medley relay, I was rooting openly for Rin's school. I wasn't rooting for Iwatobi. Here's the other thing, and this... I'm going to say this too, as far as the story goes, and the plot development. They developed a story. They were developing the story and the progression of the swim club from, getting disqualified because they allowed Rin to be in their relay team when that's not allowed, because he was for another school, to this school that was going up and up and up. And they went and they graduated from prefectorals, however you pronounce it, to the regionals, to the nationals. And they eventually hit their end in nationals. But I'm sitting there going, okay, cool. You got to 6th place in nationals. Now, there's two ways of looking at that. They did that as friends for the final send-off for Haruka and Makoto, but you also look at it as going, you've built this up. You wanted to really send them off proper. Wouldn't a first place win in the Nationals have been a more gratifying end for the viewer, especially if this is the final season and it's 25 episodes? You sent the viewer on an emotional roller coaster for 25 episodes. Now you should really give them a really sound payoff. Saying that they were 6th place in Nationals, no, that's good. Trust me, it's great, especially considering the fact that they got to do it as one unit, as friends. But I would almost have rather them been dead last at that point. It's like one of those, it's almost like for me, all or nothing. You either at least get the top 3 or don't bother placing. Because how the hell do you really say, hey, we placed 6th in nationals, great, but you won in the other 2? And see, the worst part of it is it was the end run for the 4 of them, or at least 2 of them. So wouldn't you want to send them off with a championship in the relay and the nationals? I'm just saying. Am I saying that the story was completely bad? No. Was it melodramatic? The one story that really fucked me up. Okay. And I'll end this. The stories in in episode 5 and episode 12. In episode 5, you have the story of Nagisa, who ran away from home because his parents, God forbid, wanted him to study and focus on his studying, and we're going to make him quit the swim club. To me, him running away from home because of that kind of devalues him as a character a little bit. Do you want to know why? It's great that you want to put the swim club, that you want to put all your effort in the swim club, but don't be a fucking idiot in the process. You get what I'm saying? Like, he does this, and it's like, okay, but in the end, it gets resolved. But what's really funny is they built up the story in episode 5 to where he was supposed to confront his parents. But they never show the payoff. They never showed his parents being confronted by him. Instead, it turns to be the club advisor that he was indirectly yelling at, I guess. Episode 12 fucked me up because it was like this. And this is what's weird. Because I actually got in this argument with somebody on Tumblr. Because I don't think they understand what I was mad about. Just to give the backstory of this whole thing. On Tumblr, there's a thing called the text post meme where they take these, sometimes they'll take quotes and they'll put them over certain screen caps. One, and they do it completely out of context. One or two of them, was it 2? Yeah, it was 2 of them, were from the flashback when Rin is in Australia as a kid going to school there. Which, by the way, was funny because you got to actually hear Mayano actually reciting a script in English for the first time. That was actually pretty neat. Because I don't remember him ever doing it before. But this person didn't quite understand why I got mad about this. I understood what the text post meme was. I got that. The reason I got mad wasn't over that. It was over the flashback scene because, see, Rin, who was coming from Japan to Australia, he was trying to convey things that mattered to him to the kids in Australia, and all these kids were looking at him like a bunch of fucking twits. And I said, if that was my kid, I don't care if it was just a study abroad kid. If that was my kid, and school kids were treating him like a bunch of fucking twits, or like a twit, in any respect, I would have gone in that school, I would have stood in front of that class, and I would have told them, listen, treat my kid with some kind of respect. Because if you don't, then you're going to deal with me, and you don't want to do that. That's what I would have done. For some reason, when I tried to convey this to the person who did the text post, I don't think in their head it registered why somebody would actually have been angered. Plus, it reminded me of when I was in school and the way kids treated me at times. You get what I'm saying? So you had that, and trust me, I watched it when I watched the episode tonight. I was ready to go throttle somebody. Like I was ready to reach through there, grab one of those kids by the scruff of their neck, and go, "Listen, that's the gospel truth." And sometimes I wonder if people on Tumblr or anybody wants to take that out of context intentionally got why I was upset. That's the God honest truth. Here's the other thing. The story that they told in episode, or not episode, but in season 2 got a little bit more melodramatic, which is not what I think a lot of people were hoping for. Yes, you had to build to at least two of the swim team members parting ways, but they did it in such a way that it was so overly dramatic and overly melodramatic that I didn't know how I was supposed to take it. You get what I'm saying? But here's the thing. The bottom line is this. The story, kind of, for me, in parts of season 2, kind of really fell apart on me. Just a little bit. And maybe for me, the ending wasn't as gratifying as it should have been. But moreover, here's the thing. Alright. The character development was actually really well done. They showed that Nagisa's a bit of mischievous little shit. They showed Haru, and the way, and how Tumblr has this really interesting way of one-dimensionalizing characters, and they meant his was the whole pool thing, right? They showed him in the series as a very well-developed character. And I wish people didn't just focus on the one goddamn thing. I really do. Because you miss a lot of it. And it's a shame, really. Let's one-dimensionalize a character that is actually really well done for anybody's game. I mean, any series. That drives me up a fucking wall, to be honest. That being said, the character development and the plot development was well enough. And like I said, I did get emotional a couple times during this series, especially when it came to, you know, the relay and watching Sansuka, because I grew to enjoy that school a lot more because they had a lot less bullshit going on, it seemed. Outside of the shoulder issue for, it was this shoulder actually, for Sosuke. You get what I'm saying? Oh, and I will say this before I end this. I almost forgot them. I believe they're called the Shinigo brothers. Okay? Hayato and Kizumi. They need their own goddamn series. Kizumi pretty much saved season 2 for me, because I enjoyed that character immensely, and he was only really around for one whole episode, which is episode 8. Dear God. Hats off, because I legitimately enjoyed that character to death. But I can't understand why Haruka acted like such a big dick to him, to be honest. No, seriously. He's probably one of the nicest people on the planet, and here's this guy like a stone cold prick to him. I didn't get it. Maybe I wasn't supposed to. Anyway, as a whole, Free is an okay series. Is it as good as, say, Tumblr will tell you? No. Not by a long shot. It has flaws, but it is good enough that you can go watch it. Now, here, hold on. If you're going to go watch this, try not to do the whole pairing thing, because I didn't do it, obviously. Go in with an open mind. Go in with watching it and being able to enjoy it as, you know, something completely separate from a fandom perspective. If you can do that, you'll enjoy it a lot more, trust me. Because I actually did. Does it get a glowing recommendation? Nah. Like I said, it has flaws, but it was passable. Trust me. You can. I can say that you can watch this and you're not going to walk away with a headache. Not a severe one, anyway. Anywho, that is it for this review. The next time I see you will be when we ask a very simple question. Do you have amnesia? Yeah. You'll see what I mean when I see you on Tuesday. Later, or 2 weeks from this past Tuesday. Later, gang.